Calgary Next.
Calgary Next.
Is this? Can we look at this as putting up roadblocks, or is it simply what is your agenda?
Well, the agenda is very much what's in the report, which is pretty clear, which is these are the steps we've got to follow. You know, this project was announced, frankly, without all the homework being done. In fact, I said it's not even half-baked, it's not even in the oven yet. And so this is a matter of starting to stir the batter and put it in the oven. There are a number of gates and roadblocks that you have to look at, not roadblocks, but different gates and different off-ramps that you have to look at to make a decision like this. Let's not forget that all in, this could be the most expensive public works project in Calgary's history. And as such, Calgarians deserve to be able to really know that their council has gone through this in a very methodical, very transparent, very open way, which is frankly different than the way a lot of other cities approach projects like this.
Do you feel rushed into the fieldhouse debate?
No, I mean, we've had the fieldhouse debate forever, and we need to continue to have it, but we also have to recognize that the piece that a lot of folks have been missing is that the fieldhouse at the Foothills site isn't just a building. The building itself is less than $100 million. That's the FIFA soccer field and the indoor tracks. But it's also a comprehensive redevelopment of the entire Foothills site with hockey rinks, outdoor amenities, and so on. And the CalgaryNEXT proposal only takes a portion of that. It doesn't in any way alleviate the need for all the other facilities up at the Foothills site. So there has to be a broader discussion about that.
Why is your office spearheading the CalgaryNEXT?
Somebody's got to do it.
Why are taxpayers on the foot for doing a lot of? Why are taxpayers on the foot for a lot of these studies? The transportation studies, the LRT studies. If the Flames want it, shouldn't they pay for it?
Well, regardless, we have to figure out what to do with the Foothills site and what to do with the West Village site. That's a lot of work that needs to be done anyway. And in fact, long before the CalgaryNEXT proposal, we had engaged Calgary Municipal Land Corporation to help us think about a better way of doing the cleanup on the contaminated West Village site. So that work's got to get done. I still really believe in the polluter pays principle, as the report says, and we have to figure out exactly how much money that is and how we're going to get the money. And those questions have to be answered long before we have any questions about what, if anything, goes on those lands.
Your concern level, have you been briefed by the police chief about what's been happening on our streets?
Yeah, we are in constant contact as a city council with the Calgary Police Service through the Calgary Police Commission and directly with the police chief and his deputies. I speak for everyone when I say that no one is happy, no citizen is happy with where we are today. We've had 12 gun deaths this year, which historically is still a very low number. Calgary remains an extremely safe city, safer than it's been in generations. But I think all Calgarians, me included, share a sense of concern about what is going on right this minute. And certainly, you've heard from the police chief already, there are a number of issues that make what's going on right now a little bit different than what we've seen in the past, including the rise of fentanyl, including different kinds of organizations of bad folks who are doing this sort of thing. But what I do know is that the Calgary Police Service is better at this than anybody else. That's why we're at the safest point we've been in generations, and I have utmost confidence in our new police chief and in all of the men and women who work for the Calgary Police Service, that they know what's going on, that they're going to get this right, and that the folks who are committing this violence with no respect for their fellow citizens will be caught. They will be caught, they will go through the process, and they will be punished for what they did. That will happen, and the Calgary Police Service is going to make that happen.
There's a number of the number of shootings is increasing year over last year. Are there concerns about public safety?
Well, you know, the good news is, if there is good news in this terrible situation, that Calgary remains extraordinarily safe. There's not a street in this city that anyone should be scared of walking down at any time of the day or night. Not a lot of cities can say that, and I'm pleased that we are able to say that, but of course people are concerned. And yes, I can trot out the statistics showing this is a blip historically on a very, very long downward trajectory, but people are worried and people should be worried. And what I need to say, however, is that the police service are the best anywhere. They know what they're doing, they're on it, and no one needs to be afraid about walking on any street in Calgary any time of day or night.
It's kind of warm, but we were getting a little bit of snow. The snow and ice control into your hands now. It's been a good year, good budget. It's omnibus.
Wow.
Are you happy with where that budget ended up and looking on?
I have a question that we need to address. It's a very technical question on snow and ice. because you'll see that the snow and ice removal budget was way below average in what was a slightly below average snow year, but that they spent a lot of the money that they were normally would have spent on snow and ice control on other winter activities. That's a fancy way of saying filling potholes in the winter instead of in the spring. It's exactly the right thing to do. But I do want to make sure that the budget is transparent enough that people understand just how under budget we were and how much of that went to fulfill our reserves for bad snow years and how much of it went to do other work that would normally be deferred until the spring but getting it done in the winter. They're in the report, they're just not very clear. So I want to ask to pull them out. If memory serves, about $4 million went into extra winter work, and the rest is going into the reserve, but I'll be asking the administration about that today.
Several houses along the Elbow River that were slated for demolition are no longer. Is that going to have an impact on the city's mitigation plans, expense to the city?
The news on that is very fluid, so I imagine that may change again, because I know that some of those houses, unfortunately, are just not salvageable. So the real question is not about whether they'll be demolished. The real question is about what happens to that land later. Initially, right after the flood, the thought that there would never be development again on those lands. I think that has really shifted, and the thinking now is with upstream mitigation, with the Springbank Reservoir being announced and the other community-based rehabilitation, some of those lands may well be suitable for development again, so they might be able to be remarketed. As well, some of those lands may be needed for the community-based mitigation. They might be exactly where you want to put a berm. So the good news is that this provincial government has committed to me many times that they're not going to act unilaterally on this, that they're going to work with the city to develop the broader system-based responses here that really make sure the communities don't end up with these broken teeth along the riverbank, but that we are also not putting anyone in danger. So I'm actually quite happy with the province's approach on this. They've been very open, and again, you're going to probably hear some more stuff about demolition soon, but the issue is not demolition. If the houses are unsafe, they have to be demolished anyway. The issue is what happens next.
Do you expect any pushback if they have to install any parks or any other mitigation infrastructure in those neighborhoods?
You know, again, we'll do this in full consultation with the people who live in the neighborhoods, but I think the people who live in the neighborhoods are anxious to see more mitigation happen. We may have some aesthetic questions about what that looks like and where that looks, but everyone understands the need for it.
Your expectations in terms of Green Line funding from the provincial government today?
I don't think we'll get it today. I know there's an announcement happening today, but I don't think they're going to announce billions of dollars for the Green Line. That said, I know that Minister Mason and his team have been very, very open to having these discussions now that we have a new federal government, and which has a slightly different infrastructure priority. The right thing to do is to put all three orders of government together to figure out how we pay this out over time, because that's really the issue. The quantums are there, $1.5 billion from each of the three orders of government. The feds have already agreed to it. The Liberals agreed they would honor that commitment. The city has $500 million in place. We have to find the other $1 billion. And the province has not yet committed, but I anticipate that they will. The real question is it all at once? Is it over 30 years? How do we manage the debt? Who holds the debt? These are technical questions, but everyone seems really ready to have a good discussion about it.
One last question, folks.
Can we jump back to CalgaryNEXT?
Sure.
With the removing of the possible removing of the fieldhouse from that foothills project, is there any worry at all that would sort of crumble the project or weaken it, the development up there, not having the fieldhouse?
Well, I think that if the CalgaryNEXT proposal were to go through in its present form, we would really have to reevaluate the plan for both field houses, the foothills and the Glenmore, and we'd have to think hard about what the right use of that land in foothills is, but I think it's too early to really speculate on what that looks like.